welcome to this episode of Is It with me, Dan, and him,
Sean.
What are we looking at today, Sean?
Today we are looking at the Lindell SBC from Plug-in Alliance. SBC being stereo bus compressor.
Quelle surprise.
There's another one out in the world, so we have to look at it, I guess.
We do. So take us through the Lindell SBC.
Okay, so it's a modelled version of the API 2500 bus compressor, which is one of the, I think if you have to list the bus compressors in the world, there'd be three that would immediately come to mind: the SSL bus compressor, the Neve 33609, and the API 2500. The 2500 is well known for being a great stereo bus compressor, but also a lot of people love it on their drum bus, and I've used it on that before. And this is a modelled version of that.
Cool. And how close does it replicate the original bit of hardware?
I think pretty damn close. It's been interesting watching other people's reactions to it over the last few months, and a lot of people, well, I'd say it's been a 50-50 split of people saying, this sounds exactly like my hardware, and other people saying, this doesn't sound like what I'm used to. And I think the reason is, anyone that's owned a 2500 will tell you, over time, their sound changes, like any piece of analogue gear. So it was modelled on one that sounded like it sounded, and it won't sound like everybody else's, but it's very, very close.
Does it have the THX? What's the
TMT.
TMT,
Tolerance
yeah.
modelling technology.
Yes.
I've learnt that phrase now. I'll have you know. I know what it sounds
Every day's
like.
a school day.
Oh yeah. No, it doesn't.
Okay.
But it's so that's more of a Brainworks thing, and this is Lindell, although both put out by Plug-in Alliance. But what it does do is it very faithfully represents the 2500 compressor. It's got something similar, so it's got this little control down the bottom left, which is THD, which is the total harmonic distortion, so you can crank more or less of it. And I think that is almost like I want it to sound like an older version or a newer version, because you can still buy these new, and the new one's going to sound different to one that's 20 years old. So, crank it up if you want a little bit more harmonic in your signal. But it sounds spot on to me. I've been testing it on my drum bus. It's got that amazing sort of smack sound. It's got the nuke option, which a few people have copied. People do copies of this, and they've called it other things, but nuke is the official name, and it's just like a button you press, and it gives the low end a real punch around the frequency of the kick drum. So it's great on the drum bus for that. There's a side chain. There's a mix control. It's got all the tone controls that the original had. It also has this thing called Link, which is really, really useful. So what Link does, if you have it set at 0, left and right are compressed independently. So if there's a very loud floor tom on the left channel, the right channel won't compress. However, if you crank it up to 100, both channels are compressed identically, no matter where the trigger comes from. So you can dial that in, which I think that's amazing. That makes it even better for drums.
Very cool, very cool. And what's this you've got circled over this on the output stage?
Yeah, so I think this might be me not getting it, but there are 2 buttons on the output section. Well, there's 3 buttons on the output section. So you've got the manual button. You turn that on and you can
does that tell you how to work it?
It's not that manual, it's the other manual. It just means you can manually set the output gain, which is useful. Without it, it just matches it. So then there's bypass, which, as you would expect, bypasses the plug-in. And then there's a button that says compress.
Which you thought, it being a compressor.
Yeah, so when you turn that off, it bypasses it. So I don't know whether they just thought, it would be nice to have another button there to make it all look pretty. But I can't work out the difference between bypass and the compress button. Maybe someone can point that out if there is one. Okay. But they both appear to bypass it. And at first I thought, well, maybe the gain's still being affected, but no, just bypasses it. Okay.
Well, let us know in the comments if you worked that one out.
Yeah.
So, is that about all you've got to say about the Lindell SBC?
I mean, pretty much. If you know the sound of the 2500 and you want a plug-in version of it, I think this is up there. There's a few. This is probably the best one I've heard. And it's that VCA sound. It's great.
Very cool. Very cool. Get 14 days trial.
Yeah. Plug-in Alliance, 14 days, full working, everything. It's normally $299, which is strong. But I think it possibly is worth that. But at the moment, it's $29.
So, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Have you ever paid full price for a plug-in? Have you ever paid the $299 and not the wait till it's on?
No.
discount.
No,
Okay.
and no one should. If you know that on a regular basis it's going to be
discount.
1/10 of the price, you'd be an idiot.
It's a substantial discount, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's their business model. They know no one's paying $299 unless you're a super producer who's earning millions and you don't care.
No.
The rest of us are going to wait, and they know that.
Okay, so Sean, the Lindell SBC, is it shit?
It's not in the slightest bit shit. And for all those that say it doesn't sound like one, it just doesn't sound like the one you know. Is what I would say.
There you go. Once again, Sean is right. You are wrong.
There's one other thing we should mention, is that at the moment, if you buy this, they are giving away the Lindell MBC.
Ah, okay. When we say at the moment,
literally at the moment.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get this one out sharpish.
Yeah, okay, we'll do that.
So that offer doesn't end before you see it. But
so what do you get free?
You get the next thing we're going to review.
Ah.
So you're just going to have to watch the next video.
See what we did there. Cliffhanger. So don't forget to click on the subscribe button and
click the little notification bell, and then you'll know next time we're reviewing something that's either really cool or really shit.
adios.
See you later.